More breaking news now at 4. An alleged serial rapist now behind bars in Douglas County.
But authorities fear there are more potential victims out there. Atlanta News First reporter Chelsea Beimfohr is live outside the Douglas County Courthouse in Chelsea. Some of these assaults date back to the 90s.
Yeah, the district attorney's office says Bobby Lee Hart Jr. is currently facing charges in connection to 3 separate rape cases in Douglas County. But they say that the evidence points to the fact that he could be tied to several more sexual assault cases. They shared photos with us today of Hart throughout several different stages of his life. Investigators say he allegedly raped 3 victims in Douglas County in 2012, 2022, and 2024. But they believe he could be the suspect in several other sexual assault cases across West Georgia from over the last 3 decades. Investigators say some of his known aliases include Maurice, Robert, Kevin, Champ, Meat, and King. They're urging any victims to come forward.
You are not alone. We are here to listen to you. Coming forward takes tremendous courage, but we have resources and advocates ready to support you.
Investigators say if you are a victim of Hart's, please come forward to the Douglas County District Attorney's Office or to local law enforcement. Reporting live in Douglas County, Chelsea Beimfohr, Atlanta News First.